I'm Alan Spears with Occupy Democrats, and in some truly stunning breaking news, the FBI just executed a major raid on a top MAGA congressperson. Over the past few days, we have seen Republicans lose their mind and have a total and complete meltdown as Kamala Harris's campaign has been kicking into full gear and has recently seen a resurgence of energy and excitement as she has recently tapped Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, as her running mate. Now, despite the fact that Harris has only recently, within the past few weeks, been the presumptive Democratic nominee and not had a ton of time to campaign nationally, that has not prevented her from garnering a ton of energy and support from both Democrats and moderate Republicans. Trump and his campaign, along with many other far-right Republicans, are desperately clawing at anything, trying to grasp at straws, hoping to find some semblance of dirt to toss at Kamala Harris, but it is proving to be a very, very difficult task as Harris has had an incredibly clean record. The same cannot be said for most Republicans. Frankly, the rhetoric that these Republicans have been using, especially surrounding Kamala Harris, has been outright concerning, if not terrifying. Their blatantly racist and sexist attacks against Harris have only continued to prove to me that just when I think that Republicans can't get any lower, they find a way. Despite them all seeming to parrot this toxic rhetoric about Harris, Republicans aren't as united as they were in the days following the assassination attempt on Trump. Americans are getting tired of the bigotry and fear-mongering that Republicans are constantly peddling, and we're desperate for someone that can embody hope and joy and a passion for this country, and Kamala Harris is absolutely tapping into that energy. And all the while, controversy after controversy continues to surface about Trump and his campaign, as well as many other MAGA politicians. It is not surprising in the least that the MAGA cult and their leaders are prone to violent and extreme tendencies. However, it would seem that the recent weeks have really seemed to exacerbate that as their frustrations mount against Harris's success. And that is the subject of today's breaking news and story, as the Republicans continue to scramble and try to find anything that they can use against Harris. They are not finding much measure of success. And as I mentioned earlier, we have just learned in some breaking news that the FBI just conducted a raid against a major player in the MAGA movement in Congress. Now, in an incredible breaking story reported by News Channel 5 of Nashville, we have just learned that the FBI executed a search warrant against Tennessee Congressman Ogles as the first-term Republican faces continuing scrutiny over fraudulent campaign financial reports that he filed. The execution of the search warrant came immediately after Ogles defeated Courtney Johnston in the Republican primary as he seeks a second term in the U.S. Congress. Department of Justice guidelines generally prohibit law enforcement from taking any overt actions in investigations of a political candidate in the 60 days before an election. Now, back in May, Ogles filed a series of amended campaign financial reports admitting he had not personally loaned his campaign $320,000 as he had previously reported back in 2022. Now, other amendments to his campaign financial reports resulted in Ogles retracting claims regarding thousands of dollars in campaign contributions and expenditures that he had previously reported to the Federal Election Commission. Now, this development came several months after News Channel 5 Investigates raised questions about whether Ogles had the financial resources to make that personal loan. Despite having reported making the $320,000 personal loan, Ogles' personal financial disclosures did not show any substantial investments, not even a savings account. A watchdog group, the Campaign Legal Center, later filed a complaint with the Office of Congressional Ethics comparing Ogles' conduct to disgraced New York Congressman George Santos. So here we are once again with MAGA people doing their best to prove that they are the scum of the earth and desperately trying to sling mud at Kamala Harris and now Tim Walz, when all the while they themselves are committing massive amounts of financial fraud. It is unbelievable to me that these people have the gall to try to levy any semblance of criticism against Harris and her incredibly successful career, all the while these people are doing crap like this. And I mean, you and I have both seen that the bulk of Republicans' criticisms against Kamala Harris have been the fact that she has a strange laugh to them, or that she's a woman, or that she is or isn't black. Well, she's half black, half Indian, or I don't know. What is their criticism? Yes, these are facts. She is a woman. She is half black, half Indian. What is the criticism to be levied there, guys? In truth, this is exactly what I expected from someone like Ogles and the rest of these MAGA politicians who all they can do is constantly harp on others because of their race or because of their gender. It's pathetic. And frankly, I'm even surprised that Ogles was allowed or capable of submitting an amendment like this to his initial report back in 22, as just even glancing at this report, it's so abundantly clear that he was trying to steal. This is exactly the sort of behavior that I expect to see from these MAGA Republicans. They try to rile up their base, get them angry, and make it seem like they're the man or woman, they're the person for the job, that they're going to solve all the problems for these Republicans, and that all they need is just a little bit more money. But the truth of the matter is they just want it for themselves. They're just stealing and milking their base for all they're worth. People like Andy Ogles and the rest of these MAGA Republicans are exactly why I constantly harp on the fact that you need to register to vote, and come this November, you need to show up and cast your vote to make your voice heard. We cannot allow these crooks, criminals, and grifters to continue getting positions of power in this country. We already had to endure 4 excruciating years of Donald Trump and his cabal running this country into the ground, and I am not interested in doing that again. So, like the future president of the United States said, we are not going back.